W.F. Howes presents an unabridged recording of Inside and Out, Charles Bronson, by Julie Shaw, narrated by Lucy Bromilow and Richard Fox. Introduction by Julie Shaw. Last year, I was approached online by Irene Dunroe and her daughter, Laisha. Having already written a series of true crime books, they were familiar with my work and reached out. I was surprised to be asked if I'd like to write Irene's story, which sounded so interesting that I immediately agreed. However, as we got into the writing process, it became clear to me that Irene still had very strong feelings about Mick and was still in touch with him regularly. Mick, who is now known as Charles Salvador, or Charles Bronson by some, was born Michael Peterson. He has changed his name twice by deed poll. Despite this, his ex-wife Irene will forever refer to him as her Mick. In our early discussions about the book, I suggested to her that this story was as much his as it was hers, and that perhaps Mick might want to be involved. 2 weeks later, I received a long letter from him, which ended with him saying that he'd love to be involved and he would be happy to help in any way he could. From then on, the story we were telling began to take a different turn. I studied both psychology and criminology at university, and have always worked in those fields, so I immediately recognised that there was a lot more to both Irene and Mick than the general public know, and I really wanted to explore that. I learned, through many letters from Mick, that lots of things happening on the outside of prison had a direct effect on the way he behaved inside, and I wanted to make that clear to readers. With this in mind, throughout the narrative, you'll see a selection of reports written by me to try and explain what I thought was going on at the time of the previous chapters. I hope this doesn't detract from your reading experience, and they can be skipped if you wish, but you may find them useful or interesting. Charles Salvador is currently preparing for his next parole hearing. Below is a summary of the findings of his last hearing in 2023. The narrative is constructed based on many hours of talking with both Irene and Charles, and also lots of handwritten letters and emails sent from the prison where Charles is currently serving. Irene had been keeping detailed notes for years, and had in fact started writing her own book. She very kindly sent me everything she had written down, so I was able to take lots of material directly from that. I also spent many hours researching newspaper stories and newsreels that helped me gain further insight into Charles in his younger years.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?